David, great to have you with us today.
Good to be with you, Craig. Thanks.
You have an impressive background, David. You've served as an infantry officer and senior official within the Canadian and British governments before leading the global build-out of successful companies such as Simunition. When did you found KWESST, and what was your thinking behind it?
So KWESST was founded about the springtime of 2017. I joined the founder first as a strategic advisor and then as an investor and then a bigger investor. And today I'm the executive chairman, really leading the build out of the company. I saw in KWESST a great opportunity to do a rinse and repeat of things we've done very successfully before, which is to pick off really high value, high growth niche markets in the defense and security sector and go on to dominate those niches. And that's what we've done on a few occasions. And I've led that, and I'm enjoying doing the same thing again here now. But in this case, with several ways to win because of the different technologies and the different business segments we have.
The way I understand it, David, KWESST works on 3 tech platforms: non-lethal, digitization, and counter-threat. Tell us about each.
Sure, yeah. All of those wouldn't necessarily be household terms to people, but digitization is all about bringing real-time situational awareness to soldiers and now responders with an expansion we're doing in this area. And this keeps them safer and makes them more effective. They all know what's going on. They know where everybody is. They know where their assets are, where their equipment is, where drones are, et cetera, and where the enemy is in the case of the military. And that's where most casualties are taken, right? As soldiers on the ground, and a lot of the reason for those casualties is that soldiers don't know what's going on around them. And so this solves that. And we've really got a leading position in this aspect of the market. We extend that out to do some other really quite interesting additions, which is to apply it as well to weapon systems. So now old dumb iron weapon systems like mortars and many other kinds of things become modern smart weapons because the weapon has the same information. And it's just fire and forget like a video game. That's the digitization segment of the business. The counter threat is really focused on threats that are really now becoming increasingly in the news. They're certainly part of the modern battlefield. And that's threats like being detected electronically. So now the enemy knows where you are. And the next thing you know, you're taking in precision missile fire or other kinds of fire. The Ukrainians are highly attuned to this risk. Even before the war started, they had incidents like this. And that certainly made NATO alive to the threat. And now throughout NATO, there are requirements for what we call an electronic decoy. We call ours a phantom because that's what it is. It's sending out phantom signals. You think that the friendly forces, NATO forces are over here, over there, everywhere else, and it slows down the enemy because you now have to stop, go and figure out what these signals are all about. Sometimes they'll even start bringing fire to bear on these phantom locations, using up their ordnance, degrading their warfighting capability. The other threat is a threat most people wouldn't have heard about, but it's the threat of lasers. 2 forms of it. If you get tagged with a laser, you now have an electronic bullseye on your back. And next thing you know, a smart munition will be finding you and vaporizing you. Then there's a further, more recent threat on the battlefield, and that is the threat of a weaponized laser that's going to scan the battlefield at ground level, looking for anything optical, and that could be a rangefinder, binoculars, rifle scope, or eyeballs. And then it emits a very high-powered laser beam and fries them, including eyeballs. So you can imagine how horrible that kind of injury is and the intimidation effect of it. So we perfected a product that will now detect those lasers. Today you can't detect them. It will detect them, and it will also locate them. So now you can go from playing defense to playing offense. We also have a developmental concept for countering drones, countering the threat of drones the way it's evolved, which is become swarms. It's become drones that are effectively loitering munitions. They can circle in an area and just wait for a signal from the ground or from an operator, or automatically detect a target because of its electronic signature, and then it hits it with explosives. And that's a problem in a different way in the Homeland Security market as well, where on a daily basis, sensitive facilities are being overflown and surveilled by drones. Drones are dropping in weapons and contraband into prisons. And so our solution, if it proves out and we commercialize it, will actually be usable dual use on the battlefield, but also in Homeland Security, because it's not shooting anything kinetic. And for the rest of it, it's currently under wraps, so I won't say more about it than that right now. The third segment you asked about is the non-lethal segment. This is something we have a lot of background in. I personally have, created companies and products like Simunition, the one you mentioned, and a new one called ParaOps, and our Arwin non-lethal system. ParaOps is something we're bringing to market this summer. We unveiled it at the SHOT Show. That was the soft launch. That's the big trade show that happens every year in Las Vegas in January. This summer, the product will be rolling out, and this solves a big problem in the non-lethal or less lethal market, which is that a lot of things on the market today are cartridge based, which is good because cartridges are really reliable. They will function, right, when you pull a trigger. But rubber bullets and grenade launchers, shotguns with baton rounds or beanbags, they all killed a lot of people. Even Taser has killed a lot of people. So great that it's cartridge, but big problem that it can be lethal. A less lethal solution has been to use air guns. So we run right up the middle with a breakthrough technology. Patents are filed and pending, and we think this is really quite a breakthrough. Where it's cartridge based, so it's very reliable, but it's got a soft, breakable projectile in it. And when it bursts open, it has different payloads. Usually the preferred one is something like pepper powder. And so this can be used across all kinds of applications for non-lethal, truly non-lethal. So whether that's for public order or subjugation of dangerous suspects, or for personal defense, even animal control, and other applications as well. So we're excited to be moving out on this one. We've seen lots of recent validation of market interest, both on the consumer end and investors into technologies like this. So that is our brand new baby, the non-lethal system.
Great illustration of your three very distinct platforms there, David. You mentioned market opportunity. You mentioned the Homeland Security market, for example. Let's delve deeper into the market opportunity for each of those three platforms.
Sure. Well, the reason we select these market opportunities is that they're multi-billion dollar markets, and they're global markets. And that's what we look for, right? Ourselves as people very experienced in the industry, investors ourselves in the industry over the years, and people who have built out significant companies in this industry over the years. So, you can find lots of data that sizes these markets. In the digitization market, there are military programs on the books everywhere to bring situational awareness and what they call digitization to the force, worth tens and tens of billions of dollars throughout NATO. There's a big market, so it's a huge opportunity. In the counter threat market, again, people can read market studies that show how big this is, multi-billion dollar markets. And we really are at the leading edge of that. We don't know, and our customers don't know of anybody else that has solutions against lasers and solutions against electronic detection the way we have. And then on the non-lethal side, another multi-billion dollar market. So I like to think of one of the compelling attributes of KWESST is that there's a lot of ways to hit a home run. As an investor myself, I like that.
Leads directly into our next question here, David. Great platforms, huge markets. How are you going to make money?
So we make money several ways in each case. On the non-lethal side, it's new, but we've done lots of non-lethal things before. We know the model, and that's a razor blade, right? So there's firing platforms that get bought once with good margins, but there's recurring sales of the cartridges, and those are at very healthy margins, really outlier margins. In the digitization world, there's the initial systems acquisition and into military programs. And increasingly, we're trying to do that the way we've done it before, which is to work with some of the prime defense contractors. So we have an important partnership with General Dynamics to do that. And the systems and applications we developed can be resold to more and more customers. And big partners like General Dynamics pull us through into programs like this around the world, wherever they have them. And there's a recurring component to that because a lot of the secret sauce is in the software, right? So our model there is a recurring revenue after the initial acquisition off of the recurring licensing fee. And then on the counter threat systems against lasers and against electronic detection, we have the system acquisition cost, which again has healthy margins, but it also has a service level agreement and recurring revenue fees from the software that's in there. Again, that's again another big part of the secret sauce.
David, could you talk to us about your relationship with General Dynamics? And in particular, I want to hear about your Phantom electric decoy warfare device.
Well, the relationship with General Dynamics Mission Systems, General Dynamics has different divisions, they're all huge. And this one is to develop in phases next generation soldier systems, to use the jargon. Well, what does that mean? It just means the system soldiers are going to have to be able to communicate, share information in real time, push that information out sideways or up to their command level. And we're going to be showcasing that actually with General Dynamics at the big Canadian defense show, CANSEC, on June 1st and June 2nd. And we'll have more to say about it at that time because we'll have a press release around that. You mentioned that electronic decoy. Well, we have a second partnership with another division of General Dynamics called General Dynamics Land Systems. And this is to put the electronic decoy onto new vehicle platforms, 400 to 500 of them, that General Dynamics Land Systems is bidding to the US military later this year. That can have a very significant follow-on revenue as they then deliver those vehicles with those decoys. But we have a lot of requests from a lot of customers for that decoy, particularly with the war on that's not really been a catalyst.
To summarize, David, what is the essential value proposition? Why should investors take an interest in KWESST right now?
Yeah, well, it's a pure play in the future systems where the growth is, right? And across different niche segments where we've got leading technology, we've got a very experienced team, and we've got the relationships in the industry to make it all happen, and we are making it happen.
Very interesting story, David. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure, Craig. Thanks.